Here with the North Clarion girls basketball team, who just coming off of winning a back-to-back District 9 title. Chris Rossetti of D9 Sports. I'll let them each introduce themselves, starting across from me with Mackenzie Bauer.
I'm Mackenzie Bauer.
I'm Haley Sherman.
I'm Sierra Manross.
I'm Tori Obenrader.
I'm Abby Gates.
I'm Gabby Carl.
I'm Gabby Schmader.
As you can see, just giving their names is enough to get them laughing. It's obvious that you ladies had fun with this season. Would that be an understatement?
Yes. This is every practice.
24/7.
How important is this chemistry to the success that you guys had?
Super important. I mean, any one of us can say how much fun we have in practice, in games, and even in those tight situations, we're still having fun.
27-1. You know, you guys had a fantastic season a year ago, first district championship, you know, Elite Eight of the state playoffs, but you lost a couple of key players coming off of that team. And some of these younger players that are sitting here were going to have to step up, and going into the season outside expectations, weren't sure how that necessarily was going to happen. What was the internal expectations?
We knew we could do a really good job, and I myself, and so did Coach Starhop and Coach Obenrader, knew that the younger girls could step up really well, and any one of them can say that it was nerve-wracking and they were really scared to do it. But they stepped it up, they worked hard in practice, and we pulled it off.
Some of the younger ones, Haley, you know, knowing that you were going to be asked to maybe take some pressure off of Tori inside like Cassie had done a year before that, what were you thinking going into the season?
It was like really nerve-wracking because they're both really good players, and Tori like being a really good rebounder. It was really hard going into like really nerve-wracking.
Mackenzie, you know, you guys were asked to maybe fill that point guard role by committee more than just one person stepping in. What was the thought process as a group going into it?
It's hard to fill someone's shoes that are that big, but we always had to work together and just kind of step it up.
Early in the season, you know, I think back to the Brookfield tournament against Clearfield, and you guys got a big lead, and they kind of put some pressure on you guys, and that, you know, that was the first time you'd seen that in a regular season game, and they were able to come back a little bit on you. What was the message after that? Like, what were some of the things you guys started working on to adjust to what teams are going to try to do this year?
Ball handling.
Yeah, I think just learning how to play with the lead, saying that we don't necessarily need to score, we just need to take care of the basketball.
When you look at, you know, was there a point in the year where you started like thinking, hey, we could really do this again?
Yeah, definitely. I think we thought at the beginning of the year that was just our main goal. We just kept working hard.
I remember as we sat, and might have to be a little louder with the noise out in the hallway here, ladies, but just pretend like you're on the court trying to communicate with each other. But you know, thinking about where we were at with, where you were at with at the beginning of the season, I remember, I don't know if it was Abby or Tori going to me, hey, coach says you can't win them all unless you win the first one. Was there ever an expectation that you could go through District 9 without losing a game?
Yes and no.
It was like a dream that we all wanted. I mean, I never knew it would be real until
I don't think any of us really thought about it as we were doing it. It was just, let's get to the next game. Let's keep preparing.
We never necessarily had a set, we have to win them all. We went through one game at a time, and once we won one, our next goal was to win the next.
Was there ever a point where it was like, okay, you're 21-0 in the regular season, and now it's a chance to finish off an undefeated regular season? Was there ever that point where it was like, hey, you know, this is actually going to happen, or this could actually happen?
I think we did think that, but we didn't put any pressure on ourselves. Even Coach told us multiple times, we did not seem or act like a team that had a giant target on their backs.
One of the things that was so evident about this team was obviously Tori's the best player in District 9. Not to embarrass you, Tori, but I don't think that's an argumentative type of thing at this point. But that meant teams were going to try to take her away, which meant that they were going to put pressure on the rest of you. And you all at different times stood up and had fantastic games. Was that a subconscious thing? Was that something that you guys ever talked about? Was it just something that happened?
something that happened in the moment. Like,
yeah. We knew that teams were going to focus on Tori, and obviously we would too.
Yeah,
but we would too. We just knew that. I think everybody kind of unspoken thing that we need to step up and we need to get things done.
One of my strongest memories is probably the game at Carn City, Gabby, where you just couldn't miss for the longest time. Was that the best you've ever played?
Yeah. I don't even remember ever even dreaming about anything like that ever happening. And then going into the game, we saw Tori getting shut down. We just had to step up, and I never saw that happening.
What did that mean to the rest of you when you saw her out there just hitting shot after shot after shot?
You give me the ball. Shoot the ball.
I remember them yelling at me, like, shoot it, shoot it. I'm like, no, shoot it. You're...
The other Gabby and Abby, you guys were two players that saw a lot of playing time a year ago as young players. Did you feel any extra pressure, maybe knowing that people were going to be looking at you to maybe carry more of the weight?
I think, yeah. Because, like, I knew how nervous these girls probably were for starting their first game and stuff, and I just knew that, yeah, I had that experience, and the nerves didn't really get much better, but it's just, you just got to get past them, I guess.
What about you, Gabby?
Yeah, I mean, I was always scared to like take over the point guard position, and I was telling them to always just help me and not leave me behind. But once the game started, like I was behind.
Is there a game in the regular season that you guys think at and go, wow, that's a game I'm always going to remember?
Keystone.
Yeah.
Keystone.
Yeah.
And Red
AC
Bank.
Valley.
Yeah.
AC Valley, obviously. I mean, all the AC Valley games kind of run together now when you play them that many times.
When you talk about Keystone and Red Bank, the first thing that comes to mind is those were really physical basketball games. What prepared you guys to be able to play physical basketball games?
We weren't prepared until we got
Yeah, you could kind of tell at the point where we were like, okay, we got to be physical now.
They're going to do that to us. We're going to do it back.
Obviously, when you look at a rivalry like the one you have with AC Valley, when Olivia gets hurt, does that kind of change, like, hey, the thought process of playing them at all? Or was it like, hey, this is still a really good team and this is going to be a tough out?
Yeah, we definitely thought of them as a really good team. We knew with Olivia being out, she's a great ball player, and anyone can tell you that. And we knew it would make a difference, but they were able to work around it, and we assumed that was going to happen.
When you look at the first playoff game against them, the game in the KSAC championship game, was there a point in that game that it was like, hey, we're going to win?
No, we never have a mindset like that. We always...
They're a team that can come
Everybody-
back from anything.
You
Play
saw
until
the
that
district
last
nine.
whistle.
Yeah.
That seems to react the way you guys react. I mean, you guys celebrated that KSAC championship like you'd never won one before. You celebrated the District 9 championship like you never won one before.
Because they're on our second one. So.
Do you think that just having that mindset, though, that, hey, nothing's for granted, that, we're not taking this for granted, is part of the reason that you guys celebrate so hard when you win?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We worked so hard for
Yeah,
it. Like,
it's hard.
so many practices we put into it. It felt like it just fell into place for us.
Those were our goals.
Yeah.
We got to them.
As you go into the district playoffs and you play that game with Du Bois Central, and it looks like you guys are going to blow them out of the water in the first quarter, and they come back at you a little bit in the second quarter. What's the thought process at halftime there, as that game's maybe a little closer than people thought it was going to be, but maybe it wasn't for you guys?
We knew it was going to be a tough game. I mean, we played them, I don't know how many days before that. It wasn't that long of a break, but so we knew that they were going to know more of the style of the game we played and throw something different at us than they did.
And then the game against Elk in the semifinals, for you, Tori, specifically, because you, I think, are the only, well, anybody else played 2 years ago when you were it. So was there a little bit of, hey, this team beat us 2 years ago, kept me from maybe winning 3 district titles, that I really want this game?
Yeah, there definitely was a lot of that, and we knew it was going to be a hard game. We went up and watched them play Northern Potter, I believe, and we knew they were going to be physical, they were going to be fast, and that Elk always has a good program.
And then once you win that game, and it's right at the end of that, the AC Valley auto game is coming to a close. And, we all know how AC Valley ends up winning that late. Is that the team you guys wanted to play in the championship?
I don't think we cared.
Yes, and
it's out of our hands who we play, and
just prepare to whoever wins.
So, okay, you get to play AC Valley for a third time. They always talk about beating a team 3 times is really hard. What's going through your mind in the preparation up to that game?
There was a lot, because any of us can tell you that there was a lot of people that kept saying that sentence, that it's hard to beat a good team 3 times, and we knew it was true. My brother's senior year, they actually did it with Clarion and AC Valley, so we obviously knew it was possible, believed in ourselves, and we just played our game.
You get into that game and you get the big lead at halftime. How do you keep from being complacent when you've got a big lead like that?
Always have your head in the game. Play to the whistle. Doesn't matter what's going on in the surroundings.
Yeah, for the first couple minutes of the third quarter, we kind of lost that, but
yeah.
And we talked about it in the locker room, and we knew that they were going to make a run. AC Valley is a team of runs, where they get going and they keep going for a while.
Is it better that the run happened early in the second half to give you guys an opportunity to maybe settle things down?
Yeah, definitely.
Then it comes down to where it's crunch time. They've got the ball. It's a 1-point game. You've missed some free throws, so I'm sure the pressure is starting to maybe mount a little bit, and then Abby makes the defensive play.
All senior high band
hold on a second.
members, please report to the cast at this time. Thank you.
It's what we do when we do these in schools. Unfortunately, we can get these announcements every once in a while. But hey, if you're a senior high band student, make sure you report to. I guess I wouldn't be a very good high school student since I didn't really listen to where they were supposed to go. But anyhow, back to the defensive play that Abby makes there. From all your, I had an opportunity to talk to Tori and Abby. From the rest of you perspectives, what were you guys seeing when she made that play?
It was a great play on Abby's half.
She knew they were trying to get it to her, so she knew she had to stop it.
It was like a game changer.
I remember being behind her, and I was like, Abby, I got your back, and all of a sudden she's diving. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my gosh, she has the ball.
Winning that district title, going back to back, what does that mean to you guys?
Everything.
Yeah. It's everything we worked for. We've been working since, March of last year?
End of last season. End of last season.
We kind of did that for, our coaches. They pushed us so hard, we had to, be there for them and do what we could to show them that we were doing it. So.
And we knew, our undefeated record in the regular season was great, but it means nothing without being able to get those wins.
You go into the state playoffs, you're playing a Cornell team that you guys had seen. It's not often that you see a team, even though maybe they're a different team this year than they were last year, at least the school. Was there comfort with familiarity? Was there nervousness because of familiarity?
I don't really want to say either, because they're such a different team. And and we saw film, we had a couple game films of them, and there's different girls playing in every game. So we didn't know who we were going to see.
What kind of challenge is that?
It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge, especially when you see a girl that's scoring 8 to 9 points a game in the film, and then she's not there that game. But then obviously we saw some other girls step up.
You get into the game with Farrell, and you're down 9 at halftime. What's the message Coach Dryhop's giving you guys at that point?
Just bring it back point by point. Don't rush it. Don't try to get it all at one possession because you can't. Yeah.
You end up taking the lead late. Are you thinking, hey, we've done this, or what's going through your minds in those final seconds of regulation?
We just didn't want to go home.
More like it's not over yet. We still got to keep playing. And then
we fought to the end.
Yeah,
we did.
I think that we could have won that if somebody would ever make their shots at the end of regulation.
Always blames herself. Wins a KSAC championship for us last year, and then blames herself for not.
I think she's being a little hard on herself there.
District 9 for us.
Obviously only one team ever finishes a season with a win, at least those that go into the playoffs. So the fact that your only loss is a playoff loss, is you've had a couple of weeks to reflect. Are you really proud about what you guys have accomplished?
Yeah. That loss definitely hurt, and if you would have even been remotely close to our locker room, you would have heard that it hurt. You heard the locker room full of crying girls. But it was definitely hard to take in that then, but now that we look back on it, our season was great and one that no one will ever forget.
All right, we're going to embarrass Tori here for a second. 2,100 some odd points, 1,500 career rebounds. First of all, Lee, what was it like playing with somebody that's going to go down as a legend in District 9?
It was great. I
It
know
was so much
people
fun.
give her a lot of, stuff about, oh, she gets all calls or something like that. Like I think that, like, she's worked for everything she's got. She's worked for those 2,000 points. I mean, I think that she deserved all of them because she's put in so much work to be able to do what she's done.
Tori, was there a special point in your career that maybe sticks out more than others? Well, hold on.
Junior high band members, please report to the cap at this time. Thank you.
Now the junior high band is going to the cafeteria. That time I paid attention.
I mean, not necessarily. It was just from starting as a freshman, I knew that it was going to be a big role that I was going to have to take up through my whole varsity career. But I couldn't have done it without any of my teammates. And the fact that so many young girls, especially this year, stepped up and played in ways that I didn't anticipate, but they were able to step it up and really show their true selves.
From a personal standpoint, maybe breaking your cousin's record and her actually flying up from Texas, was that a special moment for you?
Yeah, it really was. And she promised me when I started playing varsity, actually, that she would come up for that. And we all were like, oh, yeah, that would be nice. But then when it started coming around and she's like, I'm flying up, we were like, oh, okay. And I mean, and she was having some health issues before, and she was able to still make it. She actually had an allergic reaction on the way here, but on the plane, so she was a little freaked out. But it was super special, especially with her giving me the game ball and everything.
Did you ever actually think that you had a chance at her record? I mean, 1,833 career points is a lot of points.
No, I didn't. It wasn't up until really getting close to it that I was like, I'm actually going to do this. But, I mean, I was just there to play the game.
Did we see maybe in that game against Farrell a little bit of a passing of the torch to Abby, now to maybe embarrass Abby a little bit? She kind of took over in that fourth quarter and really is the reason that you guys had a chance of winning that game.
She definitely did. She really stepped up, and she's going to keep doing it for the next 2 years. I know it. And so are all of these girls. They're all going to step up. They also have time to play. I'm the only one not coming back.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. As we look around, and obviously, ladies, it's tough to replace 2,000 points, 1,500 rebounds. But do you guys feel like you're still in a really good spot, at least to be part of the conversation, to maybe go 3 in a row?
Yeah, I mean, but I think that obviously it's going to be hard trying to fill her shoes, but you can't really replace her. You just kind of have to work around her because we can't need her next year because we don't have her as an option.
We've all been playing together for so long, since, what, 4th grade for some of us?
Yeah.
And being together, I think, is definitely going to help us, but it's definitely going to be big shoes to fill.
I look at you guys, maybe, and maybe you see this too, you guys are going to be much more of a guard-oriented type of team next year. What are some of the things you feel you guys need to work on in your games, those of you coming back?
Shooting.
Rebounding.
That's what rebounding.
Yeah. And I think just having the option, because, when you gave the ball to Tori, you knew, okay, it's
She's
safe,
got it,
we're
don't
good.
worry.
It's safe. We don't need to, worry about it.
Abby, I had turnovers too.
In presses, we'd give her the ball. Oh, she's got
Just
it.
to
Don't
take
worry.
it over.
She's got this. We'll go down the court.
fine.
We're all
You'll be
gone.
fine.
Point guard, there you go.
I remember sitting here last year and we talked about everybody that was coming back and what some of the goals were. I'm going to do that again. What are some of your goals heading into next season?
I think we all set the same goals every year.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
We don't.
This is sad.
Thought that we don't mean to make you feel left out. So
It's just my high school career has been great because of every one of these girls and then some. So it is sad to see it go. But
what's it like playing for Coach Dryhope?
It's
amazing.
He's the best coach.
He's a coach that finds a way to make us work hard, but we're still having fun. Like, even when we're running sprints, there's some way he makes us laugh. That one of us falls on the floor.
Someone slips and
Or
falls. He's like,
someone's ankle gives out on them for no reason and just topples over.
Yeah.
or ducks it, well, you're safe, you're good.
And he believes in every one of us. He always pushes us to our potential, and I think that that's really huge to having a coach and to have for a winning team.
He never gives up on us, that's for sure.
When you guys think about where North Clarion girls basketball has come and where it's at right now, how proud are you guys of where things are at?
I'm proud to say that we were part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
They went from...
I feel like North Clarion, like, their girls basketball team used to be seen as a joke, but we really brought it up, and everybody actually sees us as a good team now.
What are you guys doing? Are you involved with any of the junior high kids, the elementary school kids, to maybe try to keep this going even after you guys are out of high school?
I mean, our elementary program is getting better. It was struggling for a little bit, but they have some elementary camps here and that we all try to help get to at least one day out of the week, and there's some potential coming up. I mean, I know they're 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 6th graders, but you can still see the athleticism in certain ones.
Well, you guys were all 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th graders at one point. And in fact, remember, I saw just a picture that Abby's mom posted. Abby and Mackenzie, and was it Sierra? Were you in that one? Who's Sierra?
Yeah.
Along with Wendy Beveridge of Clarion. But when you guys think back to that and to where you're at now, what's the biggest thing that you think about from when you see a picture like that?
I mean, I'm glad we all kind of got experience with each other.
Yeah,
Built that chemistry.
The potential we had to keep going with it was just awesome.
Is there things off the court that you'll remember that maybe we didn't see?
Oh,
The bus rides.
The bus rides. You did not want to be on those bus rides. We screamed for songs.
The
And then
Taco Bell
we have lots. We always go out to eat. And the one time we were on our way home from a Penn State game that we went to watch as a team, and we told them it was Coach's birthday. We're at Texas Roadhouse, so he had to sit on a saddle.
They made him say yeehaw.
And it's a joke now that after we win, we'll say yeehaw.
Does anybody have a video of that?
Oh yeah, I don't know if he'd let me do that.
Well, maybe Tori, because you can't kick Tori off the team.
Maybe Tori should do it. He can still, he's got his way. He's still can make me come in here and run some sprints.
Well, I mean, it would just be right up there with the Spud picture that I sent to a few people last year from his senior high school year.
We all screenshot that we all have. He's like, you show anybody? I don't know who it was.
He knows everything.
Like Coach O'Connor, my mom graduated with Terry, so he's in all her yearbooks. He made her hide them, so Ashton and I couldn't get them.
I've heard that story, and so he wanted to know how you guys got the picture of him and
I think it was Krista.
Yeah,
It was
Krista's
Krista.
the story actually. My wife was a freshman when Terry was a senior in West Forest, and I pulled out the yearbook last year after your season and found his picture and strategically shared it with a few people. Just seems like. Just sitting here, Ty, you guys are laughing and joking, and it just seems like how much fun you guys have had. Is that really what sports is all about?
Yeah,
it
It's none of this. Nope, go ahead. Nope.
Okay, well, if you're not having fun, I feel like there's no point in it. So even when we're running sprints or stuff like that, it's still fun.
All the way down to my colleague Dustin Kiefer calling Tori the 4th member of our broadcast group because we had her on so much. Tori, thank you from the bottom of our heart at D9 Sports and Explore Clarion for the willingness to, over the last 3 or 4 years, to sit down and do everything with us.
I mean, everyone wants to thank you guys. D9 Sports wouldn't be a thing without you guys, and it's awesome sports coverage. And it's like I know we use it. Like we'll be coming home from scouting a game, and we'll be listening to another game on the radio just because you guys cover that. So
I think it's cool for everyone to get to listen to all the games that aren't from around here and they're hearing about them. So.
One of the things that you guys seem to do as a team was also go scout together, especially in the playoffs. That's really a unique situation. Why would you do something like that?
Because we all want to see the competition. That's one thing that we're all pretty dedicated to seeing and being prepared for the next game. And it's also some more fun. Like, those card rides were fun.
Acapella.
One of the things that impressed me the most was you guys lost in the state playoffs, and yet you stayed around to watch AC Valley. It really says something about the character of this team and of your coaches and all of that. How hard was that to lose a game and then still want to stay around and watch another KSAC team play?
It was definitely hard, but exactly like you said, it was another KSAC team representing the KSAC in the state playoffs, which is a huge thing. And it's their first run. It was their first run in the state playoffs. And, like, it was hard for us. We sat up in the corner and we were
We just, like, hid.
We did not want to talk.
We were sad, but we were still willing to watch that game.
Well, ladies, again, thank you for everything. Thanks for taking some time to sit down here and and join us for this conversation. It's been another wonderful conversation. I love doing these things with all the teams that I do them with. It really gives a cool insight into some things that we don't necessarily see on the court, and really brings, I think, to all of District 9 and really the world, when you think about the World Wide Web, what kind of character we have here in District 9. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.